Welcome to sleep with the Olympian gods. Tonight's journey takes us to the heights of Mount Olympus, home of the 12 Olympian gods of Greek mythology. Over the next hour, we'll meet each one, discovering their realms, their stories, and the legends that have flowed through history for thousands of years. Before we start, in the comments, share where you're watching from, along with the local time. We love hearing your stories from around the globe. Now, settle in. Feel the weight of the day soften and let your eyes grow heavy. As the night deepens around you and we begin our gentle walk into myth and legend, high above the valleys of Greece, where the mountains pierce the clouds and the stars seem close enough to touch, there stands a peak unlike any other, Mount Olympus. To the mortal eye, it may appear only as rock and snow, but in the world of myth, it was something far greater. Its summit was hidden in a shimmering veil of mist, and beyond that veil stretched a palace not built by mortal hands. Its walls gleamed like polished marble, its columns soared higher than any temple on earth, and its halls echoed with voices older than time itself. This was the dwelling of the Olympian gods, 12 divine rulers who watched over the world of men and women, guiding its fortunes, shaping its storms, and weaving its stories. Chapter 1: Zeus, King of the Gods. The first chamber we enter belongs to Zeus, the mighty king of Olympus, the ruler of the sky and master of the thunderbolt. His presence fills the great hall as though the very air bends around him. Pillars of white stone rise to the clouds, and at their center sits a vast throne of gold and ivory, gleaming softly in the eternal light of Olympus. In one hand he holds a scepter, in the other his famous weapon, a bolt of lightning, bright enough to silence all who defy him. And yet, in this moment, Zeus is still. The storm has quieted, the sky is calm, and the king of the gods seems almost at peace. But Zeus's story begins long before the throne. He was the youngest son of Cronus, a titan who ruled the cosmos with fear and suspicion. Cronus had been warned by prophecy that one of his own children would rise against him, and so, in his desperation, he devoured each child the moment they were born. One by one, they disappeared into the darkness of his stomach: Hestia, Demeter, Hera, Hades, and Poseidon, leaving the heavens empty of heirs. Yet when the final child was born, the child destined to be Zeus, his mother Rhea could not bear to lose another. With cleverness and courage, she hid the infant in a secret cave on the island of Crete. There, in that hidden cave, Zeus grew up far from his father's shadow. The rushing sea sang him to sleep, waves crashing like a steady heartbeat against the cliffs. The mountain winds howled like a lullaby, and nymphs cared for him with tender devotion. Some say a goat named Amalthea fed him with her milk, and when her horn broke, it became the cornucopia, the horn of plenty, forever pouring food and drink for those in need. While Cronus ruled in suspicion, Zeus grew stronger, wiser, and more determined with each passing day, preparing for the destiny that waited for him. When Zeus had grown to manhood, he returned to confront his father. With cunning, he tricked Cronus into drinking a potion that forced him to release the swallowed children. One by one, they emerged: Hestia, Demeter, Hera, Hades, and Poseidon, reborn into the world, grateful to their youngest brother who had freed them. Together, they rose against the Titans in a war that shook the earth and sky. Thunder roared, mountains cracked, and oceans boiled. For 10 long years the battle raged, until at last the Titans were defeated, and Zeus claimed the heavens as his realm. From then on, Zeus became the guardian of order and balance. His brothers shared in the rule, Poseidon ruling the seas, Hades ruling the underworld. But it was Zeus who carried the crown of the skies. From Olympus, he looked down upon mortals, rewarding those who showed kindness and punishing those who dared to break the laws of hospitality. Sometimes he disguised himself and wandered the earth, walking among villages and listening to the hearts of men and women, testing their generosity. He was a god of storms, yes, but also of justice, ensuring that no oath was broken, no guest betrayed, and no promise forgotten. Even now, when a storm rolls across the horizon and thunder rumbles in the distance, the old stories say it is the voice of Zeus, reminding the world that he still watches, still listens, and still guards the order of heaven and earth. Chapter 2. Hera, Queen of Olympus. Beyond the golden throne of Zeus stands a queen whose presence is both radiant and commanding. This is Hera, Queen of the gods, goddess of marriage, family, and the sacred promises that bind hearts together. Her throne gleams with ivory, her crown shines with jewels, and at her feet strut peacocks, their feathers spread in dazzling patterns like living tapestries. She is not merely Zeus's wife. She is his equal in majesty, a figure who embodies both beauty and power, tenderness and fury. Hera was born a daughter of Cronus and Rhea, a sister to Zeus, and like the others, she too was swallowed by her father at birth. It was only through Zeus's courage that she was freed. When the war against the Titans was won, Hera became queen beside Zeus, and together they ruled Olympus with grandeur. Their union was celebrated as the sacred bond of marriage itself, a symbol for mortals, a divine example of loyalty and union. Yet, as the stories tell, their relationship was far from simple. Zeus was mighty and restless, his eyes often wandering beyond Olympus. He descended to earth in many disguises, seeking the company of mortals and immortals alike. Hera, the guardian of marriage, could not ignore these betrayals. Her anger was fierce, her jealousy sharp, but beneath those emotions was a deeper truth. Hera stood for loyalty, for promises made and kept, for the trust that binds families and homes. When Zeus strayed, Hera's rage was not just that of a wife scorned. It was the wrath of a goddess protecting the very foundation of trust itself. The myths tell us she often punished those who became entangled in Zeus's affairs, yet she also protected women in childbirth, guided families, and watched over homes with unwavering devotion. To her worshippers, Hera was not a figure of jealousy, but a protector of sacred vows. At her temples, brides would pray for strength, wives for harmony, and mothers for healthy children. In her presence, the bonds of love and family felt eternal, like the steady flame of a hearthfire that refuses to go out. Picture her now, seated upon her high throne, her robe flowing like silver clouds, her gaze calm yet unyielding. Around her, the air is perfumed with the scent of blooming flowers, for Hera's temples were always decorated with garlands. Above, her peacocks let out a soft cry, their feathered eyes watching every corner of Olympus. She is the queen who cannot be deceived, the guardian of loyalty, and the eternal reminder that promises are not meant to be broken. In the halls of Olympus, Hera's voice echoes not in thunder, but in firm, steady tones, carrying a message as timeless as the stars, that love must be honored, vows must be kept, and family in all its forms is sacred. Chapter 3. Poseidon, Lord of the Sea. As we step from Hera's radiant hall, the sound of waves reaches our ears, soft at first, like ripples brushing ashore, then swelling into the deep roar of a restless ocean. The walls of Olympus seem to melt away, and suddenly we find ourselves before a chamber filled with the endless rhythm of the sea. This is the domain of Poseidon, brother of Zeus, ruler of the oceans and master of the earth-shaking trident. His presence is vast and untamed, like the waters themselves, at times calm and sparkling under the sun, at times dark and storming with unimaginable force. When the Titans were defeated and the world was divided, Poseidon drew the lot that gave him dominion over the sea. With his mighty trident, he stirred the waves, commanded storms, and shook the earth beneath. To sailors and fishermen, he was both protector and destroyer. They prayed to him for safe voyages, tossing offerings into the waves, for they knew that Poseidon's moods were as unpredictable as the tides. A calm sea could turn violent in an instant, and a storm could vanish just as quickly, leaving only stillness behind. The stories of Poseidon paint him as fierce and proud, yet also deeply creative. It is said that when he struck the earth with his trident, the first horse sprang forth, strong, swift, and wild. To mortals, this was a gift of freedom and speed, a companion in battle and in journey. And yet, Poseidon's creations did not end with horses. The sea itself was his masterpiece, filled with creatures of every kind, dolphins leaping in playful arcs, sea serpents coiling in the deep, and vast schools of fish shimmering like silver curtains beneath the waves. The myths often show Poseidon clashing with his brother Zeus, for the sea and the sky are bound together in endless rivalry. At times, he even quarreled with mortals, testing their pride. In Athens, he struck the ground with his trident and offered the city a saltwater spring, yet Athena offered an olive tree, a gift of peace and nourishment. The people chose Athena's gift, and from that day, the city bore her name instead of his. Poseidon never forgot the slight, and in storms that lashed the Aegean, some said his anger could still be felt. And yet, there is another side to him. In quiet moments, Poseidon is not a god of fury, but of wonder. Imagine now the stillness of the deep sea at night, moonlight rippling across the water, dolphins gliding gracefully just beneath the surface, and the soft crash of waves against distant shores. Here lies Poseidon's gentler spirit, a god who loves the beauty of his domain, a guardian of the mysteries hidden in the ocean's depths. As we leave his hall, the sound of the sea lingers, as though carried within us. For Poseidon is never far away. Wherever there is water, in rivers, lakes, or endless oceans, there, too, is the touch of the god who stirs the waves and commands the tides. Chapter 4. Demeter, Goddess of the Harvest. From the roar of the ocean, we step into a gentler realm. The air grows warm and golden, scented with grain and ripe fruit. All around us stretches a landscape of endless fields, tall stalks of wheat swaying like waves in the wind, orchards heavy with apples, and vineyards dripping with grapes ready for harvest. At the heart of this abundance stands Demeter, the goddess of the earth's bounty, the bringer of harvest, and the guardian of the cycle of life and growth. Demeter is one of the elder Olympians, sister to Zeus and Poseidon, and mother to Persephone, her beloved daughter. She is not a goddess of battle or storm, but of nourishment and care, providing food for mortals and ensuring the world continues to flourish. Wherever she walks, the soil grows rich, seeds burst into bloom, and the air fills with the hum of bees and the laughter of flowing rivers. To the ancient Greeks, her presence was felt in every loaf of bread, every field of barley, every olive tree that gave its fruit. Yet Demeter's story is marked not only by abundance, but also by loss. For Persephone, her daughter, was taken by Hades, lord of the underworld. One day, as Persephone wandered a meadow filled with flowers, the earth split open, and Hades carried her below to be his queen. Demeter searched endlessly, her grief shaking the world itself. Fields withered, crops failed, and famine spread across the land. No seed would sprout, no fruit would ripen, for without her daughter, Demeter could not bring herself to care for the earth. At last, Zeus intervened, sending Hermes to the underworld to negotiate Persephone's return. Yet before she left, Persephone tasted the seeds of a pomegranate, binding her forever to the realm of the dead. A compromise was reached. For part of the year, Persephone would live with her mother in the bright world above, and during those months, the earth would flourish with spring and summer. But for the other part, she would return to Hades, and in her absence, Demeter would mourn, and the earth would sleep beneath autumn and winter. Thus, through Demeter's love and sorrow, the cycle of the seasons was born. The greening of spring, the golden fields of summer, the falling leaves of autumn, and the quiet hush of winter. Her myth is not just a tale of gods and goddesses, but an ancient explanation for the rhythms of the natural world, a reminder of how love and loss shape the turning of time itself. Picture her now, Demeter seated among the fields, a crown of wheat resting upon her brow, her hands gentle yet strong as she cradles sheaves of grain. Around her, the land glows with life, vines curling around marble columns, flowers blooming at her feet, and the promise of nourishment stretching as far as the eye can see. She is the eternal mother, the giver of plenty, and the goddess whose touch ensures that the world will always awaken after its long winter sleep. Chapter 5. Athena, Goddess of Wisdom. From the golden fields of Demeter, our path winds upward again, toward a chamber lit not by fire or sun, but by a softer, thoughtful glow. Here the air feels calm and measured, like the stillness of a library at dusk. The walls are lined with carvings of owls, their eyes bright with quiet intelligence, and the polished stone floor is decorated with olive branches, twined together in endless patterns. At the center of it all stands Athena, tall, serene, and watchful, her grey eyes filled with both wisdom and strength. Athena's birth was unlike that of any other god or goddess. Her mother, the Titaness Metis, was swallowed by Zeus after a prophecy warned that her child might surpass him in power. But Metis had already conceived. For months, Zeus was plagued by a terrible headache, as though lightning itself was trapped within his skull. At last, unable to bear it, he called upon the smith god Hephaestus, who split Zeus's head open with a hammer. From that wound sprang Athena, fully grown, clad in armor, with a shining spear in hand. Her arrival was not one of chaos, but of clarity, a sudden burst of light, as if wisdom itself had stepped into the world. Though she was born in armor, Athena was not a goddess of reckless war. Unlike Ares, who embodied fury and bloodlust, Athena represented strategy, discipline, and the careful planning that brings victory without waste. She stood beside kings as a guide, whispered counsel to heroes in their darkest hours, and taught mortals the value of thought before action. Yet her wisdom reached beyond battlefields. She was the goddess of crafts, of weaving, of invention, and of the quiet skills that make life not only possible, but beautiful. One of her most famous gifts was the olive tree. In a contest with Poseidon for the patronage of a new city, he struck the earth and brought forth a spring of salt water. But Athena planted a small, humble tree. Its branches bore fruit that could be eaten, pressed into oil, and burned for light. The people saw the olive as a gift of lasting peace and prosperity, and so they chose her as their protector. The city was named Athens in her honor, and its people built a great temple, the Parthenon, as her sacred dwelling. Yet Athena was more than a goddess of wisdom and craft. She was also a protector. She stood at the side of Odysseus during his long journey home, offering him courage and cleverness. She guided Perseus against the monstrous Medusa, gifting him her polished shield, whose reflection became his greatest weapon. Wherever there was a hero striving not through brute force, but through wit, cleverness, and courage, Athena's presence was near. Picture her now, her armor gleaming softly, but her expression calm, not fierce. An owl perches on her shoulder, its wings folded, its eyes sharp and steady. At her feet, an olive tree grows from the marble floor, its silver-green leaves whispering in the breeze of Olympus. Athena is the goddess who reminds us that true strength is not in rage, but in wisdom, in thought, in patience, and in the quiet clarity that guides us when the world is uncertain. Chapter 6. Apollo, God of the Sun and Music. From Athena's quiet hall of wisdom, we step into a chamber glowing with warmth, as though dawn itself has just broken across Olympus. Golden light spills across the marble floors, and the air hums with a soft, melodious tune. The gentle strumming of a lyre, its strings plucked in perfect harmony. This is the realm of Apollo, the radiant god of the sun, of music, prophecy, healing, and poetry. His presence is like the first rays of morning light, warm, steady, and filled with promise. Apollo is the son of Zeus and the Titaness Leto, and his birth was marked by hardship. When Hera discovered that Leto was expecting children by Zeus, she forbade any land beneath the sun to give her shelter. Wandering in despair, Leto finally found refuge on the small floating island of Delos. There, beneath the shade of a palm tree, she gave birth to twins, Artemis, goddess of the moon, and Apollo, god of the sun. From the beginning, the siblings were bound together, two lights in the sky, each balancing the other, one guiding the day, the other watching over the night. Apollo's power is vast, but it is not a harsh or blinding strength. His sunlight is not only the brilliance of the noon sky, but also the gentle warmth of morning, the golden glow that softens the world at dusk. To the Greeks, Apollo represented clarity, of thought, of speech, of vision. His great sanctuary at Delphi was said to be the very center of the world, where the oracle, his priestess, would speak in riddles and visions, guiding kings, warriors, and wanderers alike. Many came to Delphi, not for answers alone, but for reassurance that the path before them was touched by divine light. But Apollo was not only a god of prophecy, he was the embodiment of art. With his golden lyre, he played melodies that calmed storms, healed hearts, and brought joy to the gatherings of both gods and mortals. In his presence, music was more than sound. It was order, harmony, and beauty woven into the air itself. He presided over the muses, the 9 sisters who inspired poets, musicians, and storytellers, ensuring that creativity would never vanish from the world. There are tales, of course, of Apollo's loves and losses, of his pride and his wrath. At times, his fire burned too brightly. He punished those who dared mock his music, and he was not without sorrow when love slipped from his grasp. Yet even in these stories, Apollo shines as a god who feels deeply, whose light is not distant or cold, but profoundly human in its warmth and vulnerability. Imagine him now, his golden hair catching the eternal sunlight, his lyre resting gently in his hands, its strings glowing faintly with each note. Around him the air shimmers with a golden haze, as though the room itself breathes music. He is the promise of the rising sun after a long night, the comfort of light returning to the world, and the reminder that beauty and truth can guide us, even in the darkest of times. Chapter 7. Artemis, goddess of the moon and the hunt. From the golden glow of Apollo's sunlit hall, we step into a space bathed in silver and shadow. Here, the air is cool and crisp, carrying the scent of pine and night-blooming flowers. Moonlight drifts through open arches, spilling across stone floors like liquid silver. This is the realm of Artemis, twin sister of Apollo, goddess of the moon, the wilderness, and all creatures that roam beneath the night sky. Her presence is serene yet commanding, as quiet and steady as the moon itself, yet filled with a hidden power that can shift like the tides. Artemis was born alongside Apollo on the floating island of Delos, a child of Leto and Zeus, and from the moment she drew her first breath, she was destined to wander freely, to protect the natural world, and to safeguard those who could not protect themselves. Unlike her brother, whose warmth fills the day, Artemis moves silently through the night, her bow always in hand, eyes sharp as an owl's. She is a guardian of young women, a protector of children, and a guide for travelers lost in the wilds. Her myths are filled with adventure and solitude. Artemis is often accompanied by a retinue of nymphs, running through forests and over mountains, moving like shadows across the land. She is swift and precise, her arrows always finding their mark, yet she does not hunt for cruelty. She hunts to maintain balance, to honor the life of the wild, and to teach respect for nature's rhythms. In the moon's glow, she is a comforting presence, a quiet light in the darkness, showing the way through forests, across rivers, and into the night's mysteries. Yet Artemis's story is also one of fierce protection. She does not forgive lightly those who threaten what she loves, the innocent, the weak, the vulnerable. In legend, she defended her mother, her companions, and the natural world with unwavering resolve. Her wrath, though rarely invoked, was as relentless as the wilderness she called home. And still, despite her fearsome power, there is a gentleness to her that draws both mortals and immortals near. A quiet reassurance that the night can be safe, and that the world is watched over, even when the sun has set. Imagine her now, stepping silently through a silver-lit forest. The trees sway around her, shadows stretching long and delicate. A doe looks up from the underbrush, unafraid, as Artemis passes, her bow resting lightly in her hand. Above, the moon rises, illuminating her calm face and the glint of her eyes, steady and bright. She is the stillness of night, the whisper of the wind through leaves, and the reminder that even in darkness, there is beauty, guidance, and quiet strength. Chapter 8. Ares, god of war. From the tranquil forests of Artemis, we step into a hall that feels charged with a different energy. The air is dense, carrying the faint scent of iron and earth, and the walls echo with the distant rhythm of drums and clashing shields. This is the domain of Ares, the god of war, whose presence is both powerful and intense, like the tension before a storm breaks. Unlike Zeus, whose thunder commands the skies, or Poseidon, whose trident shakes the seas, Ares embodies the force of battle itself, the courage, the fear, and the raw energy that surges in the hearts of warriors. Ares is the son of Zeus and Hera, born into a family of gods whose lives were already filled with grandeur and conflict. From the beginning, he was drawn to the clash of armies, to the strategy and fury of combat. Yet, in the myths, Ares is not merely a figure of destruction. He represents the bravery and skill required to face challenges head-on, the strength it takes to rise after defeat, and the courage to stand firm when danger approaches. To the Greeks, Ares was both feared and respected, a reminder that war is as much about spirit as it is about strength. Even so, Ares is not without his softer, subtler moments. In quiet times, away from the din of battle, he reflects upon the cost of war, the lives lost, the families torn apart, and the fragility of peace. Some stories tell of him walking among mortals in disguise, observing the ways they resolve conflict, the courage they summon, and the lessons they learn. In these moments, he is not a raging god, but a silent witness, watching the world and contemplating the balance between struggle and harmony. Picture him now, seated upon a throne of dark bronze, the glow of distant fires flickering against his armor. His eyes are steady, neither cruel nor wrathful, but deep with the understanding of life's trials. Around him, banners hang quietly, symbols of battles fought long ago, and the soft echo of distant horns drifts through the hall. He is a god of courage, of challenge, and of the forces that test both mortals and immortals alike. A reminder that strength is measured not only in the clash of weapons, but in the steadfastness of the heart. Even in the quiet, Ares' presence is felt, a subtle hum beneath the calm, like the tension before dawn, reminding us that life is a balance of challenge and peace, courage and reflection, force and restraint. Chapter 9. Aphrodite, Goddess of Love. From the intense presence of Ares, we step into a hall filled with soft light and gentle warmth, as though the very air carries the fragrance of blooming flowers. This is the domain of Aphrodite, the goddess of love, beauty, and desire. Her presence is radiant and comforting, like the first blush of dawn, or the quiet warmth of a hearth after a long night. Everywhere she moves, the world seems softer, more harmonious, and the heart lighter. Aphrodite's origins are shrouded in mystery, for the myths tell two stories of her birth. Some say she arose from the sea foam near the island of Cyprus, born fully grown, a vision of perfect beauty emerging from the waves. Others say she is the daughter of Zeus and Dionysus, carried into the world through the bonds of the gods themselves. Regardless of her birth, her influence spread across both mortal and divine realms, shaping the way hearts beat, relationships form, and beauty is recognized in every corner of the earth. Though she is often thought of for romance and attraction, Aphrodite's power reaches deeper. She inspires devotion, compassion, and the desire to nurture and protect. Lovers pray to her for connection, families seek her blessing for harmony, and even warriors might honor her for courage born of love. Her stories often remind mortals and immortals alike that love is both gentle and complex, capable of bringing joy and sometimes sorrow, yet always shaping the world in subtle, enduring ways. Imagine her now, walking slowly through a garden of roses and lilies, petals brushing against her flowing robes. The soft light seems to bend toward her, illuminating every movement, and the air is filled with a quiet, melodic hum, like the soft strumming of a lyre. Around her, doves coo gently, their wings brushing the warm air, and the colors of flowers shine more vividly as if touched by her presence. Aphrodite is more than beauty. She is the eternal reminder of connection, of kindness, and of the quiet strength found in love's embrace. Even in the stillness of Olympus, her aura lingers. A soft glow on the marble floors, a tender warmth on the skin, and a subtle harmony that eases the mind and soothes the heart. She is the goddess who teaches that love, in all its forms, is both powerful and gentle, capable of inspiring courage, healing wounds, and guiding souls toward hope and peace. Chapter 10. Hephaestus, God of Fire and Craftsmanship. From the gentle warmth of Aphrodite's hall, we step into a space alive with a different kind of glow, a soft, steady heat that seems to come from the very walls themselves. Sparks drift lazily through the air, and the scent of warm metal and smouldering wood fills the senses. This is the realm of Hephaestus, the god of fire, craftsmanship, and the forge. His presence is quiet yet strong, like the steady pulse of a heartbeat beneath the calm, or the warm embers glowing softly in the night. Hephaestus, son of Hera, and in some tales, of both Zeus and Hera, was born different from the other gods. His limbs were imperfect, and he faced rejection from those around him. But rather than despair, he turned to creation, forging his identity in fire and steel. From molten metal and glowing coals, he shaped wonders, intricate jewelry, mighty weapons, and even the very thrones and tools of the gods themselves. Each piece he crafted was not only a work of skill, but a reflection of his patience, perseverance, and quiet brilliance. Though Hephaestus is often portrayed as a solitary figure, his story is filled with connection. He crafted gifts for gods and mortals alike, bringing joy and amazement through his creations. Even in his solitude, he taught that strength comes in many forms, not always in force or beauty, but in the power of persistence, skill, and creativity. Hephaestus reminds us that patience can forge greatness, and that even in our flaws, we can create something extraordinary. Imagine him now, seated at his glowing forge, hammer in hand, sparks dancing like fireflies around him. Each strike echoes softly, rhythmic and hypnotic, filling the air with the music of creation. Around him lie completed works, delicate golden chains, glimmering shields, and tools that hum with quiet magic. The heat wraps around him like a comforting blanket, steady and reassuring, and the flickering light illuminates the thoughtful, calm expression on his face. Hephaestus is a reminder that even in stillness, there is strength. In quiet reflection and careful work, the world can be shaped and reshaped. Beauty can emerge from struggle, and even the smallest spark can ignite wonders that endure. His presence fills the hall with the gentle hum of creation, a soothing rhythm for all who pause and listen, and a quiet inspiration for the night ahead. Chapter 11. Hermes, Messenger of the Gods. From the warm glow of Hephaestus's forge, we glide into a hall that seems lighter, swifter, and full of movement, though everything here moves with a calm, measured grace. This is the domain of Hermes, the messenger of the gods, the guide of travelers, and the clever trickster who moves effortlessly between the mortal world and Olympus. His presence is playful, yet serene, like a breeze that brushes your skin gently, carrying with it the scent of wildflowers and distant lands. Hermes, son of Zeus and Maia, was known from the moment of his birth to be clever and resourceful. As a newborn, he already displayed a mischievous ingenuity, crafting his first lyre from a tortoise shell before his first steps were even taken. He became the god who could traverse boundaries, the swift-footed guide who could carry messages across worlds, leading souls safely on their journeys, and helping gods and mortals alike with his quick thinking. Yet beneath the playful energy, there is calm purpose, a quiet reminder that movement, communication, and adaptability are as vital as strength or beauty. Hermes is associated with travel, commerce, and the gentle protection of those who journey far from home. Mortals prayed to him for safe passage on roads and rivers, for guidance in trade, and even for cunning when cleverness was needed. Among the gods, he was the trusted intermediary, the one who could deliver messages accurately and swiftly, yet also add a touch of wit or cleverness that no one else could. In this way, he bridges the worlds of action and thought, speed and mindfulness, mischief and care. Picture him now, stepping lightly across a marble floor that seems to ripple beneath his movement. Winged sandals glint in the soft light, and a delicate staff rests in his hand, a symbol of guidance and protection. Around him, shadows seem to dance like leaves in the wind, and the air hums softly with the energy of his motion. Though he moves quickly, there is no rush. Every step is deliberate, every glance aware, every smile gentle and reassuring. Hermes embodies the calm of the journey, the joy of discovery, and the subtle guidance that keeps travelers safe, even when the path is uncertain. In the quiet of Olympus, Hermes is both a whisper and a movement, a soft breeze across the halls, a reminder that life is a journey of connection and adaptability, and that cleverness, thoughtfulness, and light-hearted energy can guide us safely through even the darkest nights. Chapter 12. Dionysus, god of wine and celebration. From the swift, airy halls of Hermes, we step into a space filled with soft warmth, golden light, and the gentle scent of ripe grapes and blossoming vines. This is the domain of Dionysus, the god of wine, celebration, and the quiet, intoxicating joy of life. His presence is both playful and serene, like sunlight spilling across a vineyard at dusk, soft and golden, carrying a promise of delight and relaxation. Dionysus, son of Zeus and the mortal Semele, occupies a unique place among the gods. He moves between the divine and human worlds with ease, bringing laughter, music, and the small, sweet pleasures of life to mortals. Though often associated with revelry and festivity, Dionysus also teaches a gentler lesson: the importance of letting go, of finding joy even in ordinary moments, and of remembering that life's richness is often found in simple, shared experiences. His stories remind us that laughter, celebration, and creativity are essential to the human spirit, and that even gods find value in gentle delight. As we wander his hall, imagine the soft glow of lanterns illuminating vines that climb gracefully along marble pillars. The air is warm and fragrant, carrying the subtle hum of music and quiet laughter. Dionysus walks slowly among his guests, nymphs, satyrs, and gentle spirits of the forest, guiding them in a celebration that is calm, inclusive, and filled with shared wonder. Though he is a god of indulgence, there is no rush here, no excess that disturbs the peace. Instead, there is a rhythm to the joy, a quiet harmony that soothes and uplifts. Dionysus teaches us that life is best savored, that even small pleasures can carry profound meaning, and that celebration does not need to shout to be heard. Picture him raising a goblet of golden wine in a slow, graceful gesture, the light reflecting off its surface like liquid sunlight. Around him, soft music drifts, blending with the rustle of leaves and the gentle murmur of conversation. His presence is comforting, joyful, and inviting, a reminder that even in the stillness of night, there is space for laughter, connection, and the quiet pleasures that make life rich. As our journey through the halls of Olympus draws to a close, let us carry with us the lessons of each god we have met, the power of Zeus, the devotion of Hera, the grace of Athena, the wisdom of Apollo, the courage of Ares, the love of Aphrodite, the patience of Hephaestus, the guidance of Hermes, and the joy of Dionysus. In this calm hour, let their stories rest gently in your mind, carrying you towards sleep with the timeless echoes of Olympus whispering softly, like a lullaby from the heights of the divine. The soft glow of candlelight fades to a gentle shimmer, and the whispers of the divine settle into the stillness of night. Each god returns to their place of rest, their stories lingering like gentle echoes, carrying lessons of courage, love, wisdom, and joy. Thank you for joining us today. If you enjoyed the video, please hit like and subscribe. It really does help us keep creating the content you love. And don't forget to tell us your location and the time in the comments. We love connecting with our viewers worldwide. From Mount Olympus, good night.